Let's write some persuasive copy to boost your landing page conversion rates. Timestamps below, along with some other helpful links and resources, including a link to our copywriter playbook with all these formulas and more. Now, when it comes to the actual layout of your landing page, we're going to be using the AIDA framework. This stands for attention, interest, desire, and action. So as we go through these formulas, here's an example landing page of how you could lay out all of your headlines, bullet points, and your conversion elements. So if you want to skip the foundation, just jump straight into the copywriting formulas. Here's the timestamp to do that. Otherwise, we do need to go through a quick 10 to 15 minute exercise so we have some inputs for all the formulas we're about to cover. So you only need two pieces of information to get started. You need to know the results your ideal customers are after, and then the roadblocks that they're after. And the good news is that is it. I'll link up in the cards and the description to a full-blown guide to actually coming up with a full customer avatar profile. Here, we're just going to 80-20 the process and focus on the results and roadblocks. Now, here are some generic examples of common results and roadblocks people will be after. On the results side, normally people are looking to have more time, more money, more control, independence and freedom around whatever niche or industry you are in. And then on the roadblock side, people don't have enough time, they don't have enough money, they don't have enough control, or they have some limiting beliefs, or they think something external is stopping them from going after whatever is in the results column. So for example purposes here, let's say we are going to be writing a landing page promoting a Facebook ads audit. And so here are the results and roadblocks with someone who wants to be more successful with their Facebook ads would be experiencing. And of course, 10 or 15 minutes writing all this out for yourself. These formulas are going to be dead simple to use. So let's go ahead and kick things off with grabbing attention with our headline. Now, there are lots of different headline formulas out there, but for our landing page specifically, we want to zero in on a result or roadblock that we can quickly break for or help them achieve for our ideal customers and show them that we can actually be valuable, right, through our lead magnet. That's the whole point of getting someone to opt in the first place. So here are some example headlines we could use: how to result without roadblock, or even if roadblock, or we could just talk about two roadblocks, and my personal favorite, how to result in the next time frame, even if roadblock. Now, the one thing to point out before we actually start plugging in our results and roadblocks, even if refers to something that's an external roadblock, so something people think is coming at them, blocking them from achieving the result, whereas without is something internal, like a limiting belief or something in their actual situation that they're looking at and saying, I have to do this in order to achieve that result. It'll make a whole lot more sense in a moment. So let's jump into our examples. So taking our results and roadblocks from our earlier exercise for our Facebook ads audit, you can see we're taking things from our results and roadblocks columns and just putting them into the formulas. So now here's an actual example of how I like to go about doing this. So at the very top here, we have our headline formula, results, time frame, roadblock. Those are our three variables. So what I like to do is type how to, and then I will just list out all of the results. Don't worry about grammar at all here, and anything that would fit in this particular formula or in this particular spot. Then we go in the next, or in just, and then 45 minutes, 7 days. Of course, you do need to make sure that the time frame makes sense. And because this is a landing page and a lead magnet, we need the result to be immediate. So if you can get some sort of result in the next 24 or 48 hours, that's awesome, because then they're going to enjoy that result and they're going to be more open to whatever you're ultimately trying to sell them. So I'll link up in the cards and the description to a full-blown lead magnet guide with lots of ideas so you can create a lead magnet that gives them a quick win. And of course, this is going to help with whatever else you're trying to actually sell them, because obviously the lead magnet is free. So here we're just going to say the next 7 days or 45 minutes. And then we have our without and even if. So without increasing ad spend, starting all over. So these are external factors, right? These are things that are outside of someone and not necessarily in their mind. Versus internal, we have you're new to advertising, find this overwhelming, not a numbers person, don't have enough time to learn. So these are a little more personal, based upon experience or some sort of emotional state. And then of course, we can put all of these together and we have our headline of how to 3x your ROAS in the next 7 days without increasing your ad spend. So again, timestamps below. You can always come back to these different formulas, and link in the description to our copywriter playbook that has all these headline formulas and more for, of course, the rest of your funnel pages as well. And so that's all there is to it, to creating your headline, grabbing attention, clearly communicating why this lead magnet is awesome and how it's going to help them overcome something or achieve something in a short amount of time. So next, we need to build some interest, right? And this is going to be our bullet points and of course a picture of our lead magnet. Although we're not going to talk about lead magnet design, but link in the cards in the description to a Canva video that goes through how to make lead magnets in Canva. So here are some simple bullet point formulas you can use. And again, we're going to plug and play. Now, there are two things we need to address though, before we move on to our examples. First is a mechanism. Now, what the heck is a mechanism? This is a new element, and essentially what you're going to do is you're going to give a certain aspect of your lead magnet a name. What you're looking at here are different examples of mechanisms and common phrases you can use to create a mechanism. We'll go through an example. And then for the power words, this is a list of power words, and all these words do is add some weight, emphasis, and kind of some oomph to whatever you are writing out. And again, the mechanisms and power words list here, these are pretty generic. You can use them, and you can also just go to your favorite search engine and search power words list, and you'll find lots of blog posts. Now, the reason I like this particular combination of bullet points is because we're doing three important things. First, we're saying, hey, there's a mistake you're making. Second, we're saying there's a secret that you don't know about. And then the third bullet point is pointing out the fact that we've achieved the result that they ultimately want or overcome a roadblock. And so just copy what we do and you'll find the same success. So jumping back into our formulas here, let's go ahead and go through some examples. So the first one we have is the number one mistake 99% of Facebook advertisers make that forces Facebook to waste ad spend. And so with the prospect group, you're just going to identify who this lead magnet is for. We could have just as easily said new marketers or entrepreneurs. And of course, Facebook advertisers is pretty broad. So the more specific you can be here in calling out specifically who the lead magnet is for, how many times can I say specific in a sentence, the better off you are and the better your copy is going to convert, because copy that tries to speak to everyone winds up connecting with no one. So for our second bullet point here, we have the golden spin ratio to effortlessly create highly effective ads. So we'll go through how I came up with the golden spin ratio, which is something we made up, right? And then effortlessly is the power word. And then of course we have the result that someone is ultimately going to want as a result of advertising with Facebook. Let's go back to the final example here. Plus a real life case study of how this exact audit checklist. So this is just going to be the name of your lead magnet, allowed our clients, allowed us, has allowed thousands of other Facebook advertisers to turn campaigns from broke to profitable in just 72 hours. So jumping back over to our copywriting process, we have the number one mistake, then we list out all the different ways that we could identify who this lead magnet is for. And then we modify our formula a little bit. You're totally allowed to do that. If you can find an external entity that's responsible for someone not being able to achieve the results they want or making the roadblocks or pains or frustrations worse, then that is a great way to actually build in some empathy with your bullet points, and it subconsciously removes the responsibility of not being successful from whoever's reading your landing page. It's a nice little persuasion technique. So that's what we're doing here. We're saying, hey, it's not your fault that you're dealing with all of these things. It's actually something over here that Facebook is doing to you. So if you can create an external source that's causing the frustration or blocking them from the results, that is a good way to go with your bullet points. So I'll quickly go through this next one here. You can see that we just look for different verbs or different actions someone might be able to take with this particular one. I'm using a different example here. But as you can see, you just have your core elements of these formulas, and then you just list out all the different variables that could fit, and you come up with a bullet point. Now, coming down here, let's talk about mechanisms. So again, link in the description to our copywriter playbook that has all of these formulas and more. So with this particular formula, we're saying peek behind the curtain at our power word mechanism so you can result. So what I want to focus in on here is the mechanism. So instead of just saying how to budget your ads or how to write ads or how to create images, we turn it into a unique mechanism by using this list of unique mechanisms, right? And so instead of saying how to budget, it's the golden spin ratio. Instead of saying how to just write your ads, it's the PAS2 framework. It's totally okay and ethical to give names to things inside of your lead magnet. It builds some curiosity around it, and it just sounds a lot better than saying how to budget your ad spend. That just sounds really boring. So we're going to dress it up a little bit. And of course, as long as your lead magnet delivers on whatever you're promising, you are good to go. And again, we just go through the exact same process here, listing out anything that would fit in those different variables. And of course, ultimately, we have our bullet point. Peek behind the curtain at our highest performing campaign structures so you can build winning campaigns in minutes. And that's really all there is to it, to writing your bullet points. You're going to want to write a lot of bullet points. You'll need at least 3 for your landing page. If you really think you need a lot of copy, or you're writing a landing page for people who've literally never heard of you, then you probably want to up it to 5 bullet points. And again, link in the description to that copywriter playbook that has all the bullet points you'll ever need for your landing page. So once you've written your headline and your bullet points, you are more than 80% done with all the copywriting of your landing page. It's pretty much all downhill from here. So the next part of a good persuasive landing page is actually creating some desire around what you have to offer. And so normally this is going to be where you have some testimonials, some trust seals, some media appearances, and most of us don't have that. So you can use this simple benefit formula to quote yourself. Verb was a challenge for us until we started mechanism to power word result. Now, obviously, this probably makes less sense than the formulas we just went through. So here's an example of how it could play out on one of our landing pages. Funnels are not supposed to be confusing or difficult to create, but there is an entire industry designed to profit on making them such. So this is a little bonus here, but we're talking about, hey, this isn't supposed to be hard, and there's some external factors that's making this more complicated than it needs to be. And so when I have to build a funnel, these are the exact same templates I use for myself and clients. Copy these so you can get your funnel done. And so here, all we're doing is talking and empathizing with whatever the big roadblock or pain point is that they're dealing with, and say, I've dealt with this before too. This external factor has made it really difficult. And as such, or as a result, here is the solution. Of course, the solution being your lead magnet. And as one final example that's a lot simpler, you can see here we have our self-quote for our sample landing page. Understanding Facebook campaign metrics was challenging for me until we started micro-filtering down out the noise and honed in on the few KPIs that actually drive sales. So again, all you need to do with this self-quote is just empathize with whatever your ideal customer is experiencing and just say, hey, I experienced this too, and I think this lead magnet is going to help. Now, of course, the final element of your landing page, which is going to be arguably the easiest part to write, but the most important part to have, is your call to action. So this is going to be where you collect that name and email, or probably just the email, in order to grow your email list and drive your funnel and sales process forward. Now, you can ask for a bunch of other information. I don't recommend doing that because it's going to lower your conversion rates. So the only copywriting element here is the text of your button. And of course, your button text just needs to make sense in the context of whatever it is that you're offering. So if you were offering a webinar, obviously your button text wouldn't say download now. It'd probably say register now or save my seat or something like that. So these are just some examples of what you could put in your button. And if you want to be a little tongue-in-cheek with whatever your button text is, that's totally okay too. Just make sure that it's not something plain like submit or join now, right? It really should be related to whatever the lead magnet actually is. Now, once you're done with all of your copywriting, pat yourself on the back because that is a lot of work. Link in the description to our copywriter playbook to get all these formulas and more. The next thing you want to do is actually start testing out your results and roadblocks. So whatever headline you've chosen, you probably have talking about a result and talking about a roadblock. And so what you're going to want to do is, as you start driving traffic, you want to start testing out which headlines are actually giving you the best results. And this is also going to help you understand which roadblocks or results people care about the most. And so all you need to do, most landing page and funnel softwares will allow you to do this. You need to split the traffic that comes to your landing page. So 50% goes to your headline A, 50% goes to headline B. After a couple of weeks or a couple hundred people joining your email list, you'll see which headline works better. And then this will ultimately help you write better copy in the future as you work off of the headlines that are actually working. So you definitely don't just write a landing page, throw it up there, and then cross your fingers and hope it works. You do want to test and figure out which kinds of copy combinations are actually going to work the best. And with that, you're all set copywriting for your landing page. Check out that link in the description to our copywriter playbook that has all these formulas and more. Hit that like button, subscribe for more guides just like this one, and until the next, keep building the business you love.